What's the craziest story that you have?
We've had systems go off at mom and pops and a customer figure out. So when the system goes off, it drops the gas so they can't cook. We had the system completely go off and our tech go out there. He looks and actually this one was at a Chinese place and their walks are all going. He's like, what the heck's going on? And he goes down to the gas valve and they got a screwdriver jammed in with it wedged open. And they've just been cooking for like 4 months with no fire protection. Now at that point, when the system goes off, if you don't get that stuff cleaned up within like a couple days, it all hardens in the pipes. It was just a disaster.
Thanks for joining us on Macho with Mammoth, number 4. Today we have Mike from Allstate Fire Equipment. So while we go through some questions, I'll start off with making the matcha so you can try that. It's
All right, cool, awesome.
It's the theme of the show here. But yeah, tell me about yourself and how you got into Allstate Fire.
Okay, yeah, so my father actually started Allstate Fire back in 2003. Before that, he worked for my grandfather's company, which was Roybal Fire. And he kind of spiraled into doing his own thing throughout the road. In probably like 2005, 6, I started with my dad when I was in high school, just filling fire extinguishers in the shop after work, for some extra money. Then I went to college, got a business degree, and then I just got a full-time gig and got into fire suppression, the kitchen systems, the whole, special hazards, all of that. So
Nice.
that's kind of my background. And then it kind of he's kind of on the other end of where he's like getting more retired. He takes trips and stuff, and I kind of just oversee and manage the whole operation. So
Nice. So it's kind of like a generational business.
Yes, exactly.
It's a family business.
Yeah.
It's so what made you kind of go in that direction initially? Did you go a different direction at first and not go into the family business, or did you go straight in?
Yeah, so I tried sport management. That's what I want. Business degree, sport management, and I was interested in. I'm really interested in sports, so I wanted to do that, but it was all working in cities and stuff. And so then I tried my dad's, and it was like, wow, I get to go all over the state, and I know this stuff really well, and it kind of just like spiraled into like. It's like something new every day. Like the facilities we get to go and are like awesome, with Connecticut, I'm doing, universities and boats, everything, so it's cool. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Is it just the fire suppression for kitchens, or do you also do other types of fire suppression?
Yeah, we do fire suppression for kitchens, and then we'll do like clean agent systems for data center rooms. That's probably our smallest thing. And then we also do like spray paint booths for automotives. That's probably the biggest growing that we got out there is any paint booth, and they're getting stricter needs to have. It's a different chemical, but same type of system. So yeah.
Have to remove the VOCs and all that from the air, I'm assuming?
Yeah, they remove all that, and then our system's just, if there is a fire, it just extinguishes it, shuts off if they got fuel source, whatever. So
I see.
yeah, so and then we're one of the only ones in Connecticut that still kind of do the refilling of fire extinguishers, hydro testing, all that. So we're pretty big. We have customers that do their own inspections, but then just bring us the extinguishers, that kind of stuff. So we got the shop, we got 2 guys in there. That's kind of what my dad, he kind of oversees that. And then I kind of oversee all the guys in the field,
Got it. Okay.
But then there's smaller suppressions we do, like on boats. They're called fire boys for like the motor rooms. So if you have a yacht that's like 35 feet or bigger, I think they got to have them. So it's a little niche that, we get calls, we go out to people's boats. So that's kind of cool too.
Nice. They ever take you for a ride around?
Oh, yeah. Thimble Island. I've been all over there with them. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So with the fire extinguishers, why is it that nobody else refills them? Are they pretty much a throwaway thing now?
You save money. I think it's just the overhead and the knowledge. You got to have enough. We've just had the facility forever, and that's kind of been the way we've done it, and it saves the customer money. Instead of paying like, say a 10-pounder cost $105, you can get it dumped out, refilled, certified for 6 more years for like $65. So there's a cost savings where
big time.
where some companies would just rather just sell a new one and
Hmm.
discard of the old one kind of
Mhm.
deal. But
So
we've-
eco-friendly too.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
yep, exactly. So
That's
that's,
good.
not filling the landfill with something. So
Yeah, yeah. And what are they made of? Like metal, right? The
yeah,
fire
metal,
extinguishers?
and then the powder inside it is it's like an ABC mix. So I call it like it's like a baking soda mix, but it's a weird that the market is actually interesting when agriculture goes high out west, the powder price goes up because it's used in the fields the same way. So that there's no health harm to getting rid of the powder. It would be
Mhm.
it's just all the steel that you're wasting at that point.
Interesting. So they use it for cattle, or what is
Um,
it used for out
no,
there?
it's used for growing. One of the main ingredients in it they use for like fertilizer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Nice.
it's one of their main ingredients. I'm not sure exactly which one, but I know
Mhm.
that's when I talk to the manufacturers, that's what if they're buying a lot for their
Mhm.
cornfields and stuff out there, then the price of our extinguisher
Interesting.
goes up. Yeah.
The raw materials.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's cool. So have you ever had matcha before?
No.
Never?
Nope.
Some people say, I don't think it's an acquired taste, but some people, and I see the look on your face.
I'm interested.
It's different. We'll say that. Are you into coffee in the mornings or anything?
Yeah, I drink coffee in
You
the
drink
morning.
coffee?
Yeah, yeah.
Where do you usually go? You
I
go
usually
out or
make it.
make it at
Yeah,
home?
make it at home or Cumberland Farms.
Nice. You do like an espresso or a Keurig?
Yeah, we got a Keurig at the shop, but at home I just do it. I'm an old school. I'd like to make the pot, brew it, and
Mhm. So not an espresso guy.
yeah.
So no
But I did
espresso
have a
more.
kick for a while. I went on to the green tea. I was big into that for a while, which that was very. I got away from the caffeine and that. I mean, well, you still have caffeine in it, but it was a different.
It's a different caffeine, right? It's
Yeah,
like a slow release.
exactly.
So that's what matcha is. So you would steep the green tea leaves. Is that how you would do it? Like a
Yeah,
regular tea?
yep.
This is ground up and then you whisk it into a milk and now
Oh
you've
wow.
got green tea, but without steeping it, and you can make it chilled. So this is generally how I do mine. You can do it hot. The purists generally prefer this hot. I like it cold. It is wintertime right now, so I'm not sure that's the best idea to make this and then go out into the cold. It might not help you too much, but it's the same thing as the green tea that you were having, just slow release caffeine. So then you kind of whisk it here for a couple seconds. That's why I asked if you like oat milk, because some people don't like oat milk, but a little bit easier than steeping tea.
Yeah, right.
That's fine. And then it's kind of like a latte. I like to think of it like when you do it with the milk, it's more like an espresso latte, but I'll make one here for me. Just like one scoop is usually, some people do 2-3 scoops, and I think it's a lot. So I usually only do 1 or 2. We'll mix this together.
So how'd you get onto this?
So, funny story. I never drank anything. No caffeine, nothing when I was younger. And all of a sudden I started having like espresso drinks, latte, all of those different type of flavors. Espressos, lattes, coffees. And I used to work out a lot, and I took pre-workout also, which was like 300 milligrams of caffeine. So then I became really caffeine sensitive. So it was either decaf or switch to something else that doesn't give you a little bit of a crash. Like some people have to have a second cup of coffee midday
Yeah.
to kind of carry you through the afternoon. I wanted something, I got to the point where I needed that. I was just drinking too much coffee. So I started drinking this, looking for options, and tasted good. It's healthier. It has a lot of antioxidants in it. So, and less caffeine. Less caffeine, and the caffeine curve is a little bit more gradual. It's not a spike and then coming
Yeah.
down. What made you switch from green tea? Or you still kind of do it once in a while?
Yeah,
seems like?
it's more of a seasonal thing, like wintertime, like you're saying. I usually go more the hot route. It's just like,
Mhm.
you know, you get out to your work truck, getting in it, it's cold, you want something warm. And then the summer, it's like, summer I almost go like no hot coffee, and I'm not. And for some reason, my wife's like, you got to get onto iced coffee, and I'm like, I never have, and I can't picture tasting
Mhm.
coffee cold. So I went to green tea, and
Mhm.
then that I don't mind. Like I'll make it, and then I'll put
Mhm.
ice in that, and it's like kind of like iced tea, you know.
Close
But I
enough,
get a
right?
little bit of so I'm not getting a headache, you know, from not having any caffeine, you know.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
sometimes the funny thing is I can go with green tea and then have like no caffeine, like the fall, like when that transition, it's like whoa, and then I slowly, you know, you just evolve into having more caffeine again.
Yep. Kind of like ebbs and flows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of the challenges that I had was the caffeine withdrawal headaches, really bad. It was
Yeah.
like debilitating.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I would get it. And I knew it was that because I actually would drink caffeine and I would test it, stop drinking for about a couple days, like 2 days after, like clockwork, boom.
Oh
headache.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the same day I wouldn't drink caffeine sometimes. So it was so I switched to this. So you gotta tell me your opinion, see how it compares.
Oh wow, it is good.
And that's no
Yeah.
sweetener.
Yeah.
So no sugar, no nothing. It's naturally sweet.
Yeah, I like that.
Mhm.
Little creamy taste.
Yeah, it's creamy. This is, I get it online. It's from Breakaway Matcha. Um, they sell some pretty wild matchas. You can spend like $80 on like a jar of this
Oh really?
but that's for the purists that do it as like a little, as almost like an espresso shot, and they don't mix it with this much milk. They don't do any milk. It's just water, and they do it hot,
Oh, okay.
so you can taste the nuances. This is their cheaper one. It's cold brew, so it's like a cold brew coffee equivalent type
Yep.
of thing. So you can just whisk it, and you're good to go.
Nice.
Yeah. So how has Allstate Fire evolved since '94? It looks like you guys have been around since.
Yeah, so there's two Allstates. There was an Allstate Inc., which is still around. And my dad partnered with them in 2003 to open our area just because he couldn't handle all the work. So we kind of at that point just did Fairfield, New Haven County
Mm-hmm.
for him. And then it just kind of evolved. We both just all do all work in the state, you know. But I would say the biggest evolution would be, well, we started in mostly extinguishers and hood. We used to do hood cleaning,
Mhm.
and then we got into kitchen suppression, and hood cleaning was like a nighttime job. And with my dad getting the phone calls at night and during the day, he just couldn't. And he sold the hood cleaning side, and then just kept the suppression going and building. I would say the biggest evolution has just been going from paper, which I was totally against at first, but we went from like everything done paper to now we're on all apps using iPads, all that kind of stuff, you know.
You were against that.
Yeah. Oh,
the young guy
yeah.
versus
Oh,
the
yeah.
old. The
I
old
was like, I would
timers.
be like, it's taking the guys longer in the field, and then once it was probably like a year, you know, it's like a year or 6 months of like it was painful, like where I was like, there was times I'd call and be like, we got to go, like this isn't like I would have my guys calling me, you know, they're not getting service, so they can't upload things. And then once we got everything worked out, it was like, wow, like with our guys can go out, they're taking pictures. Like instead of me having to, when I have to do a quote on something, they said, I'll have all pictures, I can have video, you know, everything's documented. It's
Nice.
So the biggest thing I think is technology, that how we've evolved over the last like 20 something years, you know?
Yeah, the technology making things run operationally a lot smoother.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that gives better communication to the client as well, right?
Yeah, the customer, like if we're out there, even if you know, something's wrong or even something's right, you know, as soon as that guy leaves and gets the signature on the iPad, he's getting his inspection report, the work acknowledgement, and then any issues there were. If everything's good, he's getting the thing that says he's good, you know. So
Yeah.
it's like very quick, you know.
Very quick. It's like
And
instant.
then same time he's getting it, our office is getting it, and we have one of our ladies in the office. She specifically just when the deficiencies come in, if there is an issue, the quote's going out either that day or the next day. Like she gets it, the guys have the parts they need, send it out. So instead of where it would come back, we get in a pile of papers, you know,
Yep.
that office lady's out sick, and then when she's out, I take that responsibility. So it's like it helps us better with like when there's issues with these systems, because they do come up, they can get fixed right away, you know.
Nice. That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
Wait until you have to switch to another system.
Oh yeah, I know.
Don't even don't even go down that road. We've done that, and it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
Do you guys design the fire suppression systems, or is it pretty much like just set? Like you have a 30-inch, 80-inch commercial oven or commercial range, and this is the hood. Like, is there a lot of design that goes into this, or is it pretty standard?
So they're called pre-engineered systems. So there's certain standards like how much pipe you can use and volumes of pipe, all that. So yes, we do design it. Like the customer would provide us the size of the hood they're going to do and what appliances, and then it's based on flows. So then we would calculate how many flows, how much fluid they would really need. That's the size of their tank, and then where they need the detectors and all that. So yes, we do. It's designed off of a pre-engineered design. So we don't need an engineer's stamp to do these. It's all like I'm trained to lay out and design our systems. So, and then what we do is, that was another thing we jumped into. Actually, that was another improvement that we made. But when my uncle used to do all the designing, it was all by pen and paper, and it was all on a pad, where now it's all in a program. I click the hood, it draws the hood out for. It's pretty much like CAD for someone that can't use CAD, and that's how my drawing comes out. So
It's like automation, right?
yeah, exactly. You know, I could click fryer, it puts it. It'll even put the program I'm using now even puts like, I put what type of system we're putting in, if it's an Ansel, Amerex, because there's different manufacturers. I put that in, and it puts the nozzle where we need it, and then I just kind of draw and connect it all, and that's what we submit for permits.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
That's
So
a lot
yeah, and
easier.
then when we design, and this is actually what I walk through with the customers, that all, and what I would advise anyone in like the facility field when you're getting quotes on new ones is don't always take like the lowest price. I mean, sometimes it's good, but kind of like take the top three and like vet out what they're giving you, because the different systems cost different to begin with. And then on top of that, what I always like to do is, say you're doing a 10-foot hood, but you're only using 6 feet of appliances. Yes, we can quote it cheaper for just the 6 feet, but do you want future growth? And it's cheaper to install to that bigger size right away than, hey, in 5 years, say, hey, we need 2 more fryers.
Yeah.
Oh, you need a bigger tank. You know, now you're talking, instead of like $200, you're talking $2,000. You know, so there's like
that's true.
little things that I try when I'm designing. I try to help the customer out with, and that's what helps us with designing too, is that we do carry all the major manufacturers. Ansel, it's Amerex, Kidde, Buckeye. Trying to think if I forgot any of them. They'd get mad at me if they heard this. No, I think that's all of them. But when we go out and when I look at it, it's everyone. There's not a better system. It's just some are better for different applications. You know, so that's
That makes
kind of
sense.
what we look at too.
Similar for us with the fire panels. Interesting question that I would have would be, do you guys have any brands in your industry from the fire suppression systems that like lock you out? It's like a very locked down brand that don't allow you to buy or something like that?
We've been in it so long, so we have the benefit of we have them all. But yes, most of them, like any of them, if someone got their license and wanted to start up a company tomorrow, they probably wouldn't get direct with most of the manufacturers. You have to build that reputation. But there is definitely there is wholesale suppliers that will buy the product, mark it up, and then sell it to. So it is
It's like distribution. Right?
Yeah,
They
distribution.
distribute.
So it's just, it's how, and then obviously they all are, the more you buy, the cheaper you get it. So,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Makes
they're
sense.
not lockout like codes wise, or I would say, but you wouldn't get the proper training. Like most of the manufacturers require us to take training every 3 years. And I've had it happen to me where I had Amerex probably 3 years ago. It was just a fluke. I mean, it's online, it's a refresher, but I go to order parts and I'm like, Mike, you're like 3 months out of 2. And I'm like, oh my, and they let it go. And then I take the training and because they have new products come out and they want to make sure that you're keeping up with the manuals, or, hey, we're no longer installing them this way. So it's just good to keep up on all that. So
maybe a clean room has something new that they offer, and then
yeah, exactly.
So how are Ansel systems? And is Ansel a brand? Is that a type of system? I know we always get that question.
Everyone when they say, I got an Ansel system service, and you get out there and it could be a Kidde or Ansel was the first to come out, and they are. So a lot of this goes through UL. All these systems are UL listed, and Ansel is very big on, like, if you get a new kind of fryer, or like Burger King's and McDonald's, they have their own special fryer. Well, Ansel will send it to UL for them, do the testing, but now it's only listed for their system kind of deal, which is cool, so they're definitely the biggest name out there. They've been around the longest, but it really, like, it's kitchen suppression would be like what they're all classified under, and then you would have the different brands.
Then you've got the Ansel and the Kidde and the
Pyrochem, all them.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah. So I don't know what we started that question with.
Yeah, we get people asking us. We have an Ansel suppression system or something in our kitchen, and they'll ask us, do you guys know what this is? And we're like, well, that's for this.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're wondering if the fire alarm sets it off, or whether it has its own feature to set it off. And obviously, it does work.
Yeah, so they're actually coming a long ways. Back in the day, that was actually another evolution that the industry had. It's always been, and I still like it that way, is there's fusible links that set them off. So at you get set temperatures, so 360, 450, 500 degrees, it melts and trips our mechanical side, which then trips our head. And then any electrical alarm, any notifiers that you want to be notified, there's micro switches in there that they tie into that drop that side of it.
Got it.
Yes, there can be the systems are coming out with electronic heat detection where they melt and it's all electric. Besides the chemical going out through the piping. But that's been just coming out, and it's a tough application. It's a tough sell in the hood suppression industry, just because you got a lot of water and grease in there, and there's a lot more to fail using electrical than mechanical. So I usually steer, unless there's like a perfect scenario, like schools, super clean environments. Hey, yeah, you guys can do an all electric system, but usually the mechanicals are cheaper and they last longer.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So
more maintenance or less maintenance?
You're going to spend more on parts on the mechanicals, just because you're replacing the fusible links where the heats last years, but when they fail, they cost more. So I would say it's probably it's a trade-off of what's one's. Same with we have the gas valves that and obviously when an Ansel goes off, it's got to shut the fuel off. That can be electric or mechanical still. And I would say we have more failure on the electrical side. Like I had a school district, every school our tech went to, the gas valve worked, the inspection before, and then they all failed. And then to come to find out there was like a thunderstorm that went through that, it went through the electrical and somehow failed them all. So it was like, if you had mechanical, but same thing with gas valves. The electrical ones are probably $200 or $300 more than a mechanical. So you got to weigh it,
Yeah. So it depends what type of use you have. Again.
Yeah, and it's like hospitals where you're trying to run. When I say mechanical, with mechanical, we got to run conduit and wire inside of it, and there's just times where you can't do that. So you got to go with an electrical where you can just sneak a little wire through and get it there. So it's really the application. We do both.
Yeah.
So
What's your favorite application?
My favorite actually is probably the new industrial for all the spray paint booths. I like doing those. It's just big pipe. It's very basic runs.
Industrial, right?
Yeah, industrial systems.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're coming a long way. I mean, we do one anything that paints on the industrial side, like heavy duty paint, and needs these now. So, that's probably and then it's the Buckeye systems are the ones that I've actually been selling the most of lately.
What's been the biggest trend that you've seen in the industry?
I would say the biggest trend in the last 5-6 years has probably been like food trucks. They came out and everyone's like, whoa, do they need protection? Do they not need protection? And actually, even the state code, the new code says now you don't need protection in the food trucks. But I get the call all the time. A certain town can require it, like New Haven. They got food trucks all along. They don't want a food truck lighting on fire next to their building, so it's required there.
Or you've got 6 of them next to each other
Exactly.
with propane tanks.
So you got that, like the Big E requires it, the Durham Fair. So like customers would call me and I said, well, where are you? Like talk to your local. Are you going to be traveling? Are you just going to people's houses? Usually if you're just going to someone's house, like you know the food truck industry, that you're fine. But if you're going to start going to the Big E, the Durham Fair, that you're probably going to want it, you know.
Yeah.
So that's probably been the biggest trend of installs, and then that's just a challenge because you have no above ceiling, so you're trying to get all this pipe conduit and these sneaky little food trucks, vans, yeah. So that's actually why I started going to Buckeye too. Is they made this was probably 10 years ago that all of our cable used to run into EMT conduit, and I call it now. It's what's their exact? I forget what they call it, but it's pretty much now they sell bicycle. I call it bicycle cable that you would see on a bike with the cable running into it. So it's very small, and you can just filter that through anywhere. Above ceilings, it works good for, and then these food trucks because it's so much smaller than.
Got it. Bicycle cable. It's that thin.
Yeah, it's that thin. It's all of our systems are run off of air. It's a type of aircraft cable that sets them off.
I see.
Yeah. So.
Nice.
Yep.
Sounds complicated.
Yeah.
Not as complicated as it might sound, though.
No. Once you learn one type of system, you can go look at another one and kind of figure out how they work. You know.
Yeah. What kind of challenges do you guys go up against in the industry? Like when you're installing, are there anything that you're seeing pop up recently that's been an issue?
The biggest challenge I think is just coordination. It really comes to, like when you get to the final inspection, making sure that you know if there's a fire alarm, they hook that point up. If there's electrical shutdowns, they hook that up. Just kind of tying everyone in would be I would say the biggest challenge. Another challenge I think our guys see in the field is, so the benefit with these Ansel systems is instead of water, because there is a water system still available out there, but it's called a Gaylord system, and they're great systems, but when they go off, they just dump water till the fire department gets there. So you're going to get like 500 gallons. So the water damage is crazy.
Yeah.
Where that same appliance line, you probably could do with 3 gallons of Ansel. But these systems are a very appliance specific. So one of the challenges we see is you get a new cook in there and he starts moving the appliance around, or hey, I want to add this, and doesn't call us. And it's like every nozzle has its, there's a difference between a fryer nozzle, a range nozzle, a griddle nozzle. So that's why it's important to have your 6-month inspection, to have your cook, whoever's working in the kitchen, knowledgeable about, hey, I want to move this. Okay, call your service company just to see if it's okay. Flows
Nice.
too. You could have a 48-inch range that only needs 1 flow, but you could take that out and add 3 fryers that need 6. Now you might need a bigger tank. So there's.
I see.
I say one of the biggest challenges is just making sure that when the customers are notifying us when the appliance lines change, that they're properly protected.
Yeah. So it's communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also that's why we used to do the hood cleaning too, which was nice, was because we could monitor that the hood systems were getting cleaned, because it's not just servicing the Ansel system every 6 months, but you got to keep those hoods clean, because the grease buildup just affects all the appliances in there too. So
Yeah. So that comes down to the maintenance. Is that what you guys do? You come in and you clean the hood, or is that more so on them?
we service the suppression system, and then there's all types of, you'd have like a trans clean out there, a specific company doing the hood cleaning side, which then also leads to, you want to have your hood properly maintained by an HVAC guy, because if the fan's not running at optimal speeds, then you're going to have more, you're not sucking all the grease out, it's getting stuck in the hood, which is going to build up and create a fire. So it's just like, you want to
That's a good
have
point.
those three trades kind of coming in, maintaining your hood, especially at the high end places that are running around the clock.
So do a lot of the smaller businesses not know this, that they need really 3 trades to maintain this system?
I think most of them, they get educated. Like the first time we go, they always like, so when you open a place, you're gonna have to have a fire marshal and a building inspector come through, and they kind of tell you what you need. Then they'll usually call. We're usually one of the first calls because they need us, and then when they start having questions, we have the companies we would refer for HVAC and hood cleaning and that kind of stuff. And that's what our guys do too when we get there. It's like, hey, you're getting a lot of grease buildup, and even if there's places that every 6 months is the minimum state requirement, but some of the places we do, they're doing it 4 months, because they're a 24/7 diner. That grease buildup is way different than a school that's 5 days a week lunch, you know? So that there's a big difference.
Or 6 fryers versus 1 fry pan, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's case by case in a lot of this, and it's like, we kind of just use judgment, experience, and like, you try one thing out. Sometimes it's like, hey, we got to move you up to like 6 to 4 months instead of 6 months, to keep it proper,
Got it. Okay.
So
So everybody's different. Again, it's the same as with any other industry, I guess, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So regular maintenance and inspection is important. What best practices should they follow for effective fire suppression? So obviously, fire alarm system tied into the Ansel system, right?
Yes, exactly.
Is there anything else?
You definitely want that. That's a big topic, because there's certain codes. If it's a standalone restaurant, they really don't need it tied in. But do you want to wait until flames are coming out of your building for the fire department to be called, or you kind of want the system to go off and then it instantly notice the fire department to get out there? Because sometimes we've had our system go off and the fire actually didn't start, and it started in the wall behind our system went out like it was trying to put out a appliance fire, because that's all ours does, but really the wall was on fire. But at least by it going off, it notified the fire alarm went off, and then got the fire department there.
Wow.
To put it out. So
sounds like a bad fire alarm design. If you didn't catch it in the other room, right?
Yeah, right. Definitely check out when you get a company, you don't have to sign a contract with them, but feel them out on how are they going to call you, or do you have to call them every 6 months? Because that's how, going back to our service trade, how we work our customers is they'll call us the first time, we'll put them in the system, either we install the system or it's an existing system, we service it, and then it's marked, hey, in 6 months, and we call them and then pick a time that works best for them. Usually when they're not cooking. And then just have I would say a lot of times I try to have them have their cook there. So if there's any questions, because I go to kitchens that they're completely immaculate, and then I see all of our piping and it's all greasy and gummed up, because they're afraid to touch it, because they think if they touch it, something's going to go off. And then I explain to them it's not like a regular sprinkler where there's water. It's in a stored unit, and then it's just our piping's used as a point of travel to get it to the nozzles.
Got it.
So it starts in a tank, and then so they can clean it. I kind of tell them, like, not that I care, I'm there, we'll clean it for you, but it's like I see the rest is immaculate and they got balls of grease all over the nozzles, So
It won't break anything.
Yeah,
Basically.
exactly.
It's based on heat, not just
Yeah.
messing with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. How do you see the future of the fire industry evolving?
So I think it's going to be a lot of technology, electronics,
Hmm.
you know, more virtual inspections, I would say, are going to, I would think, be done. Um,
How can they do virtual inspections? That's an interesting one because like
yeah,
we have cameras, right? We install cameras. I could see maybe installing a camera under the hood, but I mean that's an interesting one.
yeah, I know. That's where I mean, I follow NAFED and stuff, and they bring that topic
Mhm.
up about doing virtual. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't know if it will go that route. I would say more electronic systems they're trying to really push towards, so it's
Mhm.
not mechanicals. It's an easier install.
Mhm.
How else? We got compliance engine, and so the town officials, AHJs and stuff are using compliance um, systems for
Mhm.
reporting from the contractors to make sure the work is done
Mhm.
timely and that everything's up to par. So let's say that's it. And then the systems just get smaller. They get better protection, so less chemical can put out more fire. That's kind of
Mhm.
what they push, so it's not as invasive. If you look at the systems from the 90s, they'd be 300-pound bottles you're putting on the wall versus now they're 100, you know? So,
And then 10 years from now there'll be
yeah.
two, right?
Yeah,
Just a
exactly.
little capsule you just slip in, right? You mail it through the post office.
A little drone flies out of the corner and sprays the fire out.
You know, funny you mentioned that. They actually have that for security cameras. So there's a drone that you can park on the top of your building
Yeah.
and it can pop out and do patrols around
Oh
your
my
property.
God.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what they have in like Dubai and things like that, like
Yeah.
the big cities, maybe New York City, but it's out there and it's definitely for sale. It's
Wow.
wild to think. So
That's
it might
crazy.
not be that far off. A little drone pops out
Yeah,
and
right?
hits the fire right where it is. And it can triangulate with the fire sensors. So
Yeah.
that's, I mean, theoretically the technology is pretty much already there.
Yep.
You just need the
It's
software, right?
crazy. Yeah.
Hmm. So, what advice do you have for businesses regarding fire safety in general? You know, do you have anything you would suggest? Anything, any tips or tricks that you think that they should use before they decide on a company or before they decide on a certain design?
Yeah, I mean, I would vet a few out. Well, first I would say one of the things is definitely have a fire safety plan in place. No
Mhm.
matter if you're 5 employees or 500, just like what you would do if a fire happened. Like especially like in kitchens, they pan like you
Mhm.
know, first thing they should do is pull the pull station. A lot of them don't know. They just run out and call 911, but it's like if you can catch it, even if you don't want to fight it, you're scared of it, pull that nearest pull station because it's going to alert the fire trucks to come. You know.
Mhm.
The other thing that we've gotten big into the last year is we've done a lot more live burns where we actually go to these factories
Mhm.
and they have all their employees come out in shifts and we have this propane pan that we light on fire and they get to use fire extinguishers and put them out and you would be
Hmm.
shocked at how many of them a lot of times we'll do like a dry run and just hand the person it and see if they know how to use it and like they can't even get the pin out and it's like oh man you know it's like it's
Scary to
something
think.
and I've even pushed it to my dad. I'm like you know what I would like to almost do it. I would like to see the schools like you're in high school you're learning how to do this because it's like a
Hmm.
at some point in your life, you're probably going to be involved with a fire and you would like to know how to use a fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
Even checking it to make sure it's good, you know, that kind of stuff. So,
It's like changing your tire on the side of the highway. How many people just call
yeah.
AAA now?
Oh, yeah, I know,
Yep.
exactly.
Can't do that with a fire.
But, and then towards when you're picking companies, I would say the best practice I would get into is pick what you need. Like, so you got your building and you have sprinkler, alarm, you got a suppression, you got fire extinguishers. it's not always good to go to a company that, hey, we do it all. I've noticed in the past, it's like you're paying for that convenience of 30 to 40% more, where vet a few alarm companies out, vet a few suppression extinguisher companies out, vet a few sprinkler companies out, and just get their pricing, combined it all, and it might be better to go with 4 instead of 1. And
Yeah.
because it seems like the bigger ones, they might be very good at one side of the fire, but then the other stuff they're lacking on. So to get the best for your money, you're better off trying a few different companies out.
Yeah, we've run into that ourselves. There's a couple of them out there, like Cintas is a big one that handles a lot of, alarm type maintenance work is what it really is, test and inspection. And they also do the fire extinguishers and all of that, but half the time they're subcontracting another company. Some of these national companies, they don't actually have their own on-site staff. And if they do, it's pretty limited and they'll still subcontract to the local company anyway. So, you're paying a premium. Well, you got to pick the right size company, right? It can't be 2 guys in a truck, but at the same time, maybe the nationals aren't the best option every single time.
And then also too, checking to make sure what they offer for 24/7, calling service, they got to offer something. And like exactly what you were saying too, we've lost jobs to Cintas and some of the bigger ones on just pricing, which was fine, but then we're getting a phone call on a Saturday because their system went off and they can't get a hold of that big company, so they're calling us to fill it. Or they did get a hold of them and they tell them they don't have the parts in stock. So just also, I would check with them to see how they, not I guess ask them how they inventory their shop, but make sure like, hey, if my system ever went off, what's your protocol? Like, and just checking that, like in like a company like ours, we have them all filled, all marked on the shelf. You call, we have a guy out there usually, unless it's like Christmas Day, but how many people are cooking commercially then? I mean, we'll still get someone out there, but it might take a little longer. But usually we have someone out there within 2 or 3 hours getting you back and running.
That's fast.
Yeah, which the difference is, but I also vent to the customers is they'll call us on like a Saturday, and obviously it's a premium. I got to get my guys out of whatever they're doing to go do that. They lose a day, so I got to have the incentive on that side. But a lot of times too, even if I get you back and running on that same day, the health inspector and fire marshal usually want to do a final check just to make sure everything's okay before they open. And they're not going to come in on the weekend. So I always usually try to tell them, like, usually can wait till a business day if you can, but we usually try to get out there and at least rectify our end of it and find out what happened, how it happened. Because sometimes they don't even. I had one where it was actually kind of cool. They had a camera in the corner, and all of a sudden their system at 3:00 in the morning just went off. No one was there. There was no fire. I mean, he's like, "What happened?" And we went out there, and one of his conduit pulley connectors broke, just wear and tear in the corner. It was cracked and it fell down, and that was enough to just trip the whole system. So but it was actually that's another thing that we've kind of started. So these systems started in the 90s, and there's still some of those out there. And now I kind of push the 90 systems to do full upgrades, even though they're grandfathered in, they're to code. It's just, it prevents the accidental discharging on them. So
and that doesn't happen on the new systems.
I mean,
less likely.
Yeah, less likely. I mean, you could have hood cleaners and anyone. You know what? There are accidental discharges for all different types of reasons. You got work going on in the room next door, and they're like, "What's this little bicycle cable?" And they cut it, and that's the detection to our system, and goes down. I've seen it all out there, but yeah, the newer systems are a lot safer than the older ones were. So,
what's the craziest story that you have?
The craziest story.
You've got to have something out there that was that's very out of the ordinary. Someone cutting that cable in construction, or.
Yeah, I've had I guess we've had systems go off and at a mom and pops and a customer figure out. So when the system goes off, it drops the gas so they can't cook.
Mm.
I had the system completely go off and our tech go out there and everything's empty. You clearly have a system dump, but he looks and actually this one was at a Chinese place and their walks are all going. He's like, what the heck's going on? And he goes down to the gas valve and they got a screwdriver jammed in with it wedged open. And they've just been cooking for like 4 months with no fire protection. It's like, oh my God. And now at that point, when the system goes off, if you don't get that stuff cleaned up within like a couple days, it all hardens in the pipe. So it was like a total gut now. It was just
Wow.
a disaster.
So then they need a new system.
Pretty much,
They
yeah.
gummed up the pipes.
Yeah, and that's with those older systems. So all of our systems are made out of black pipe. And the older ones, once they get 20, 25 years old, the rust build up inside them, you're kind of just ready to start over. And that's where a lot of times when a new owner, and this is what I advise too, actually, if you're buying a place with fire protection in it, regardless if it's fire alarm, sprinkler, suppression extinguishers,
Mm-hmm.
if you can, you're worth paying to have these companies come through first or call the last one was there and just see if there was any deficiencies. Because you don't know how many times a guy going out of business sells it, they think they have a working Ansel, and our last report has it all marked up that they need a brand new system. And at
Yeah.
least you can negotiate that in your buying part. And I'm sure that happens in the alarm side too.
Lots of times, like what more often than not happens is, and we see this in multifamily residential, they buy it and then they need a system. They just weren't told that.
Oh yeah.
Because so what commonly happens in multifamily residential is when you upgrade the building past a certain percentage, every town has a different percent. Let's say, great example, we ran into one customer where he was replacing his windows and a roof in the building at the same time. One or the other with a couple months separation doesn't trigger it because he pulled permits on both. Inspector comes down, you need a fire alarm system.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So like he could have easily just buttoned it up, sold it, and not told somebody that it needs a fire alarm system. We ended up installing one, but that's a great example.
Yeah.
When you're buying it, you never know what's required. So calling the town, seeing if there's any, code violations and things like that, because that'll get flagged when you're purchasing a property. Asking about inspection reports if there's an existing fire alarm system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also what you feel like. I do it. We got some high-end clients that have 20 or 30 restaurants in Connecticut. They're always buying places and then redoing them.
Mm-hmm.
And not necessarily always chains, but they're just buying and having different types of bar here, a breakfast place here.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're at the point where I told them, just call me first. So like, I'll go through we'll go through it together just because like he was buying a few and it was like, he's having to pay me $5,000 to get issues that he probably could have got the last owner, where now he uses it as his negotiating strategy, where, hey, Mike, can you take a look at this hood system? I'm trying to buy it. I'm like, okay, sure. Like when I'm in the area, I'll swing in, look at it for you,
Nice.
So.
That's the difference between a local company and a national company.
Oh yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing I think that the difference that you got to look at too is it's not always how quick, but like I see some of these companies, they say, well, we take 2 to 3 weeks to turn around your quote. Well, it's like, how long are they going to take to do the install? Where it's like
Mm-hmm.
with the apps we got, our guys are out there. They're either writing the deficiency and quoting the job on site,
Mm-hmm.
showing you it, walking you through it. Or if it is a little more technical, going back to the office and they're getting it within like 48 hours is like our max. Like
Nice.
that's just how we do it. If it's me out there, normally 9 times out of 10, you're getting it when I walk out.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's as easy as the approval is you go on the app, click it, approve the quote, and then it starts queuing, the next part of your installation process on that end.
With automations.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually was the big thing that I've enjoyed, I guess what the towns have been really good about that sped up some installation is the online permitting is just huge now. It's just
Yeah.
like, instead of having to drive down to a town, print out 3 copies, it's just like customer approves it, we do your drawing, submit it all online, and it's done within 2 days of your approved quote, where before it was just like a process.
Yeah. You guys still have to pull permits for your systems, right?
Yeah, for any new installation, renovations, sometimes that's like you were saying, it's town dependent. Sometimes if it's just moving one head, most towns are just, hey, just do it. If it's like they change the entire appliance line and cut it all back and repipe it all, then they want a permit.
Don't want to see it.
Yeah, see it. And some towns just want it regardless, just for how the appliance, so they could track it changing. Because they'll pull. Brantford is actually a town that's pretty strict about that, because we have them and they'll pull a permit out from 2000. And like, why does it have all walks when now it's like a frying place with all fryers? And I'm like, well, it happened like 7 years ago when we weren't. And it's funny, but they just want a new drawing. So
When you have to design make a drawing of what's currently there and
exactly,
submit it.
yeah.
We've run into that. What's interesting with certain towns is that some of them really are stuck in the Stone Age. They're not online. They only accept checks. They only accept, like, you can't email them something. You have to like hand them a piece of paper printed. Have you ever run into that?
Oh yeah.
It's like, man, I don't know how they live.
And then I've run into the towns where, when I get the owner saying, no, you don't have to pull a permit, and I'm like, okay, and then I don't, and then the fire marshal comes off and he still wants to do a puff test with me, and we do it all, and I'm like, there was no permit. And then I got a town, actually a good one recently was Ridgefield. We did some renovation work, and I wasn't thinking he was going to want a permit, but he did. So I said, and he was awesome down there. The fire, his name's Guy. He's a great guy to deal with down there. But
Guy's a great guy.
Yeah, Guy's a great guy. Do you know him down there? No. But he, so I'm like, oh yeah, I'll give you the drawing. I'll submit it. He's like, I'm like, well, how much who do I write the check to? He's like, it's free in my town. I was like, what? You guys aren't making, like every other town is. Like, so that's another thing that we always kind of exclude on our end, is just, I'll give you a ballpark of what our permit's going to be, but every town, some towns are free, some towns are the fire marshal charges and the building inspector. You don't.
Everybody's different.
Yeah.
Some towns are crazy. Like, we've had like $5,000 permits before.
It
gets pretty nutty.
But yeah.
What's your favorite? Do you go to local coffee shops? I know you make your coffee at home. You said Cumberland Farms is your go-to, right?
Yeah, Cumberland Farms is probably my go-to. My wife likes Starbucks, but that's way too strong. That's like another level.
Yeah, that's next level. Especially you try their cold brew, and
then when she goes there, I'm like, $8. What did you get with that? It's like a little tiny. They call their grande is like it's like 12 ounces. I'm like, okay.
It's like 50% ice, 25% coffee, and then,
making a killing.
Oh yeah, definitely. And what restaurants do you go to? I know we went to a restaurant in downtown Wallingford, was it?
Yeah, we went to, what was that one called? Archie Moore's.
Archie Moore's, yep.
Was that Archie Moore's? Oh no, we went to Michael's Trattoria.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah,
So what's your go-to? I mean, you're generally in Wallingford, right?
Yeah, local. I like the local ones. I'm from Durham, so Cozy Corner is this little. It's literally a cozy little corner restaurant that me and my wife like to go to in our town. Like before it gets crazy because it gets packed, but we'll go there at like 4:30, eat with the baby, and then get home. So that's probably a good one. I like all the local ones in Wallingford. We got a little nice section on this spot you went where there's like 5 or 6 that you kind of.
Which restaurant is it that's in the jail or the library? It's some big brick building.
Yeah, that one changed names again.
I've been meaning to try that place.
Yeah, that's it. Wendy would know that better than me because she lives over there too. But that one just changed names again. It's changed like 3 times. That's a cool little spot too. But even that whole area is cool because they do like a live band out on the green out there in the summertime. Yeah, so it's like a whole. You can like go to one to eat, and there's like an ice cream shop you can like make a whole night out of right over there. So it's nice. Awesome. Yeah.
It's like a little West Hartford center for the Southern Central.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice. So are you a book guy? Do you read books? Anything?
A little bit,
Anything?
yeah. A lot of American Sniper, I would say, is probably
Mhm.
one of my favorite.
Mhm.
I'm more of a magazine guy, I guess. I like a lot. I do a lot of hunting and fishing, so it's a lot of that, like stories
Awesome.
on that. Yeah.
You do any clay shooting?
No, my
No?
club does that, but I don't.
Your club does?
Yeah.
I got into clay shooting a little bit with some friends. It was my first time, and it was a lot of fun.
Where'd
Yeah.
you go? Do you remember?
We were in New Hampshire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like this little private club in New Hampshire. One of our guys that works here is really into that type of thing. So
Oh,
he
nice.
suggested a place to go while I was up there for a little trip with some guys, and it was great. I mean, it's a
Nice.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, very very different. It's not like you're actually hunting. It's very gentlemanly. You're standing there, you say something, and then the little clay thing comes right in the exact same spot every time. Basically, feels like so. It's not as hard as you might think it is after
Yeah.
you do it a couple times, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mhm.
You get the tally, keep track.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I imagine hunting is a lot of sitting and waiting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
But
can't- no
it's-
headphones.
Yeah, it's nice though. It gets you like
Mhm.
out into nature and my wife loves to eat it now. My son that's almost 2 loves to eat it, and it's just
Mm.
like it's nice knowing where your meat came from
Yeah,
and natural, you know.
you can trust it.
Yeah, exactly. All very lean protein. This year I got the big one. I got 270 patties out of. So,
Really?
yeah, so it was like, and it's just like they're harder to cook. I don't notice the gamey taste. Some people will. I
Mhm.
almost like it, but
Which animal?
deer
Deer?
venison, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
I mean,
the-
it's like dry aging a steak. It makes it gamier. Some people like purposely do it.
yeah,
to get
exactly.
the
Like
taste,
that's what
right?
I said. I like venison burgers right better than beef burgers. I don't know why, and I think it's
Mm.
more of just I like to eat a lot, and I can house like 3 of them and not
Mhm.
feel like I have one regular burger and I'm like, ugh, you know,
Yeah.
where it's such a lean meat. So
So it's a lot leaner then.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So it's healthy.
yeah.
You
It's
do it.
healthy.
You do it to be healthy.
Yeah,
That's what it
exactly.
is.
Yeah.
Awesome. And well, I appreciate you coming down.
Yeah, thanks for having
You
me.
know, I love talking everything security. So, I love the opportunity to have people come down and, chat about this type of thing because it's important for everybody to understand behind the scenes and what happens behind the scenes. Not everything is not always as it looks. So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
appreciate you giving us some insight into your industry.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.